Oh, okay. Okay. I guess it was on vacation. Uh, Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are now live. Welcome to a conversation with, and I am your humble host, Floyd Marshall Jr. And as always, I am joined by my incomparable and amazing co host, Okima T. Moore. And today we have with us the one and only Tia A. Smith. And ladies and gentlemen, if you look at the title of this podcast, it says the Powerhouse Blueprint Inside the Mind of Mogul Tia A. Smith.
Oh,
Because
plus the
when I was reading her bio and doing my research, this young lady has done so much in the industry for people of color and just overall a career spanning 26 years, if I am not mistaken.
yes.
So when I looked at everything, I said, "Oh, this ain't no producer." I was like, "This is straight up mogul." So we are so honored to have you on the show. Welcome to a conversation with Miss Tia A. Smith. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. This
You're
title is a lot.
welcome.
You know what? Really, when I read your bio, and again, when I was doing my research, and so many different things kept popping up: executive producer, director, creative consultant, filmmaker, um, you know, judge for film festivals, and so many other things. And like you said in a few interviews, not being boxed in, I said, see, this is a mogul because you have done so much, and what you've built is just so amazing. So yeah, I said, yep, that's going to be the title of this podcast. But I always like to ask all of my guests how they got started in the business. So Tia, where did you get your start in the business?
I got my start in the business at BET, actually. I had an internship there along with Cable News 21. And I learned very quickly that I am not built like news people, they are their own breed. And I just leaned a lot into the music entertainment element of it. I made great relationships and resources while an intern at BET. I started in the videotape library, and I classically coined it as the McDonald's of the place. It was high impact, intensity, people throwing things at you, asking for tapes, and working with master control, and getting all kind of things happening. While producers were running in and out to grab whatever they needed. And then after my shift, I would go into the edit suites. I would sit with like a Billy Woodruff or Kevin Taylor, and just learn from these pros that were actually contributing and doing great programming for BET. So right after college, literally about 3 to 4 months later, uh, that position was open and available. So I said, I'm getting in there and I'll continue to work my way up. I did go to school for television and film. And I just felt like this was a great entry point to get into. It was in the backdrop of my hometown of the DMV, where BET's Washington D.C. headquarters were, so it made sense. And I just learned so much. And from another internship, my boss became the, I guess you could say, um, music supervisor of all of the music and the videos that were being played on BET. And when he saw me in the library, he was like, "Okay, I'm creating a whole different title for you because you need to get out of there and get your creativity on." And I was his assistant programmer, and we literally decided all of the music videos that would get rotation on everything from Rap City to Midnight Love to all the shows that were being programmed. So I got my programming on and dealt with a lot of the music labels. And then I was afforded a very small budget just to create some things also. Um, and from there, I leapfrogged to Viacom, to VH1 and MTV and to Lifetime, and started my own production company while I lived in New York. And then I went back on the inside as an executive for TV One for about 5 to 6 years, where I created their Monday night crime slate, 15 movies, the NAACP Awards. I shepherded along with the White House shows under Obama. And yeah, it just continues and continues. And then I got independent again. I left TV One about 6 to 7 years ago and rebooted my production company because I wanted to do the work I wanted to do. I mean, while it was great working and creating uh, shows and everything else for a given network, I wanted to create the stories I wanted to create and work with specific production companies and people that I wanted to. So I rebooted my production company, and here we are.
Wow.
I love it. I love it. I mean, you worked in a lot of different places and spaces. And I think that, very often most successful people in this industry did not have linear careers, right? Most of us come in one off chance space or another, or you're in music and then you come over here and then, now that we're in a place where there's so much more transparency, but so much more gatekeeping
Mm.
happening in budgets, in the business, and all of it. Um, what would you say was your smartest and or most necessary pivot as you've made this ascension? Because there's so much out there to do,
Mhm.
but it's hard to get in spaces, especially you've worked in a lot of unscripted,
Mhm.
and trying to move from unscripted to narrative can be almost impossible sometimes. So like, what was your biggest and or best?
Wow.
Sometimes your best ain't your biggest. So your biggest and or best pivot
Yeah.
as you've made this ascension.
Wow. There were so many pivots. Like you said, I've done everything from strip programming with, behind the music, and I love those, to still directing PSAs and commercials and documentaries and things of that nature. But the pivot that I made was that I kept on pivoting.
I
Mm.
know that's
I
right.
didn't want to get stuck. You talked about, my friends call me the professional box crusher. Okay, not bone crusher, but box crusher. I kept on pivoting. I kept on staying curious. I didn't want to be defined in one manner. And specifically on the East Coast, what I've learned is that we're kind of built to do it all. Like I was doing development and current. And
Mm-hmm.
I feel it's extremely unfortunate, even though it's specified on the West Coast, how they put you in these boxes.
Yeah.
Like your development, and then once you go ahead and masterfully craft it together, you pass it off. No ma'am and no sir. Like we were built to do both development and current. So I've always had that and just floated through different genres, keeping the curiosity there, keeping the relationships there, keeping the mindset of knowing that what I was doing was impactful, enlisting great people, treating people right, actually not gatekeeping, because
Say it again for the creatives in the back.
yeah, it's like it's not that deep for me. I literally know that I am here purposefully to walk my path. And so are you.
Hmm.
I can't disrupt mine, and I should not disrupt or try to disrupt yours. So, with that being said, there is a sense of knowing who you are. And once you go through a few things, you kind of want to help somebody out. Not everybody, but like I have just been built, as they say, from good stock. And I can say that because I have incredible ancestors and family and mentors around me that just really fortified that as you're doing your thing, pull somebody else up. And even though you're incredible, there were incredible people that came before you. So there's this always building of self awareness while you're creating. And while you're creating, you're giving back to literally people that you can hire and inspire, but giving back to the overall sensibility of who we are as a culture and even as a human experience.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the stories that I love. I mean, obviously, we can do all the things that specifically represent us. Those should be our voices. And if there's allies that want to collaborate, come along for the party. But I also love those stories that really express the human experience. I never will forget seeing My Big Fat Greek Wedding. and yelling at the screen. That was like my crazy auntie. The
Hmm.
local over there is synonymous with everybody. It's all of those entry points to who we really are on this earth that cinema can often express, along with music, right? There's so many different ways we can tell stories. But because we're living and talking right now about cinema and our visual impact, there's nothing like it. And I love drawing in those stories where we can all relate and we can really explore who we are with our little nuances and touches. But we can still, out of that, to me, comes empathy. Out of that comes education. Out of that comes exploration and a solidarity that is unmatched.
Mm,
Wow, that is amazing. That is amazing. And that kind of leads me into my next question because you talked about the ancestors and family, and like we were saying at the beginning of the show, you are prolific. You've just done so many things: producer, director, consultant, filmmaker. So with having done all of those things and doing all of those things, it takes a work ethic because you have to have that in order to do everything that I've just listed. So your dad was a teacher, your mom was in government, and your dad was from what I understand, a pretty phenomenal athlete. So is that where you got? I
Thanks.
told you I'd be looking.
I told you. Listen, Floyd gonna find your second grade ballet recital
I told you I'm gonna look.
video if he can.
But you know what? I want to
Thank you.
know that I want my guests to know that when they come on here that we respect them so much that we are going to do our due diligence because again we want our guests to know that we highly respect what it is that they do and the things that they've done, but we also want to ask questions that will educate our audience.
Mhm.
So that takes a little bit of research, but back to the question, the parents with the work ethic, and please congratulate Gail on that album.
Yes.
So
I know.
so the work ethic was that instilled to you by both your mom and your dad?
I most definitely, you're talking about, I am a child of divorce, but that still did not impede upon having a strong unit that would come together to support me. Um, with my father, it was definitely, before you leave the room, you need to pull your bed up, you need to put your shoes over here, and you need, obviously wash your hands, sit down, pray, and then you start your day. All right. The same with my mother, obviously. So yes, I do come from people who are very disciplined. My mom is, I mean, she was one of a really big, important person at the IRS, and don't shirk. But yeah, she's very detail oriented. So the processing of things is what she really drilled into me, making sure that if you're going to start something, you finish it, making sure that every step is detailed and that it's done in excellence. Literally, if you're going to do it, you need to do it right. That was the moniker. And every time she dropped me off to school, what are you going to do to you? I'm going to concentrate. Exactly. So you have these things that are, instilled in you as you're growing, and they become a part of who you are, literally. Yeah.
Wow,
I love
that's
it.
amazing.
And it's so funny because I look at your new film, The Heir, and I look at the other films that are on the circuit this season and how so much of us are representing how we were raised,
Mm.
good, bad, and indifferent, right? What we've gone through. So like I look at like your film, I look at Christine's film, Basement People. I look at like there's so many great stories, like our film last year, Laundry, my new film this year, Love Zuri. Like there's all these stories about the various nuances and how we've raised ourselves or were raised or whatever.
Absolutely.
And so hearing you talk about, how your dad was like, you get up, you pray, you wash your hands, you make your bed. Your mom's like, be excellent, pay attention and concentrate. I think there's something so special about what creatives do and how they're able to channel their lives into something that, like you said, is universally, we know our nuance.
Yeah.
Like, we know our new, there was nothing like that Auntie Latavia, ma'am. Right. And I say that as the new queer in the family.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm going to call you by your full name.
Right. But like, I love the way that we are able to utilize our experiences, whether it's our trauma, our joy, our all the things, to put these stories together. Talk to us a little bit about how you discovered your gifts to take your life and make it universally entertaining or edutaining to the public.
Yeah, going back to what you said, I don't know what the age is, and I don't know if it's changed, but I think there was a stat at one time that said, what is it, by the age of 3 or 4, you're somewhat humanly crafted, and all the things that you have learned as far as, socio intake and psychological intake is by 3 to 4 years old. That's why those years are so critical. And it does not surprise me that a lot of this creativity and what we're crafting is from early childhood. And it's not just, I mean, I know that you mentioned my film, your film, respectively, but even when Floyd, we were talking about Cam, and true to form, the majority of the films over there dealt with family or something that was impactful on your journey of life. So this is something that has been a through line, just in general, and especially now. Either people are finding ways to articulate it, but it's an exciting time because I do believe that there's healing in it. So if you can express yourself and articulate it in that manner, it's wonderful. And to answer your question, I don't know. I was just trying to create all the opportunities that I had. I had my mom in my ear saying, stay excellent. I don't know if I was really cognizant of, the stepping ladder of what I was going to do. I just knew that every opportunity and everything that I was given, it was going to be dope, and it was going to be done in excellence. And I was going to have a tribe, and that I was very much aware of that, even though it may live on a network, because I must admit, very blessed, 23 years, 24 years old, I got a national show. So with that comes responsibility, because I know the importance of whatever's in front of you. You're going to make some dispositions about it, right? You're going to say, oh, that person does this, and they must talk like that because they're this, and the assumptions of, oh, you're black, so you can sing, right? All of oh, that person's so articulate. Did you? Oh, that's just how they act. I knew all of those things that I was literally living and or heard other people experience, a la my great grandmother and my great uncles, all of them, of what they went through, the textures of that. Having that knowledge, I knew that whatever I was doing, I wanted to do counter to it. I wanted to say, we are full. There are black nerds. This is, we don't all talk that way. And when we do, it's because of love. You understand? I wanted to be in control of the narrative so that I could educate and entertain. So I knew the importance of it, but the way that you posited the question, it was like I had it all figured out, and I'm here to tell you that I did not. I just knew that was a mantra, that there was importance in it, and that if it had anything to do with me and Gail Smith's daughter, that it had to be right.
Wow, that's amazing. That you know what? See, you're getting a master class, ladies and gentlemen. So when you watch this like 3, 4, 5 times, because you're getting an absolute master class. But I want to go back a little bit to when you first went to college, because there was a choice between Syracuse and Ithaca. And I found it interesting that you said Syracuse for the first 2 years, it was just basically book stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas Ithaca, you would be getting hands-on knowledge, which you did when you went there. You hit the ground running. So my question is, with you deciding on Ithaca as opposed to Syracuse, do you think your career turned out differently because when you did go to Ithaca, you were immediately immersed in, doing things at a radio station, being able to take a camera out every week and being able to shoot and just getting all of that, hands-on training from the door, as opposed to going to Syracuse where, okay, we're going to sit down, we're going to go over film theory for 2 years, and then we'll allow you to touch a camera. So what's your take on that?
Yeah, first of all, I'm glad that I made that decision. You defined it to the T. 2 years of theory at Syracuse. Now, granted, in respect to Syracuse Newhouse, but I just felt like I didn't want to learn theory. I wanted to get on equipment. I wanted to be at a place, dare I say that I wasn't a number, because Ithaca is a private college. And so again, the building was just built. And I got a chance to get in there, grab equipment, be on the radio, put Wu-Tang on the first year. Like, it was insane, Nas coming through on his tours. So, I mean, I'm sure he hit up, Syracuse too, but would I have been able to like interview him on the air? No, because I would have been learning theory. So I just had a lot of things that I was afforded to do. And I built a great team of people to work with. And we were just all over the place to shooting and being on the radio and creating. So making that decision was huge because I continued to take that curiosity, that boldness into the next step. Otherwise, maybe junior year, I would have gotten on some equipment and I would have worked well with it, but not like my freshman and sophomore year.
Child, all I did was Syracuse was party. I did not go to Syracuse.
It was only 60 miles up, girl. So
I did not go to Syracuse. I went to Marist, but
nice.
Baby, Marist was a PWI, and they put the W in the PWI. So we found every Black place we could go. No, but that's great, and that's such a lesson for our listeners, right? Like the idea that you know who you are. There are some people where the theory is them, right? Like that's their strong suit. That's the place they want to be. And there's nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. But when like I know I'm a tactile learner. Mm-hmm. I want to do it.
Yes.
I can read all the things about it. I can I need to physically do it to know if I love it or to know if it's a gift, even if I don't love it. Mm-hmm. Like
that's information.
Yeah. And so I love that you knew enough of who you were as a person, but that also dials itself back to who and how you were raised, right? They taught you those lessons, which taught you who you were. Absolutely. So you knew what would work for you and what wouldn't. And I want our listeners and our watchers, our audience to remember that in this business, everything looks great on paper, mm-hmm. but it is a business of, let me do it to see if I can, if I want to, if I should.
Right.
But for some people, the paper thing is their thing. And so know who you are. The lesson here is know who you are. Tia knew who she was, and it has benefited her all these years later.
Yeah. And again, I have to say it was becoming.
Well, you knew who you were enough to know how to become. You know what I mean? Like sometimes and there's some kid out there who has no clue.
Right.
And maybe listening to this, they'll take stock.
Yeah.
One thing Floyd and I do all the time is with our guests, we try to make sure that we round the lessons back for those that may not be in place or space or know.
Oh, absolutely.
So that they can take stock and be like, wait, well, Miss Tia said I don't know. Let me look into me. Let me look into, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, I say becoming because it was just so, just a level of figuring it out. And mm-hmm. there's greatness in that. There's a little bit of pressure, but it's not a lot of pressure. I feel sorry for, some of the kids now that really feel like they have to have it all figured out.
Well, it's their microwave generation.
Yeah. And that's a lot of pressure. Like mm-hmm. we had standards and still do, but the amount of pressure to be number one already when you're just getting out the gate is just intensified on 5,000. So that's why I really want to emphasize the becoming, and that there's blessings, there's greatness in the becoming. There's exploration, like I said, there's building, there's failing, because that's still intel for you to do something better the next time. So, yeah.
I love
Yeah,
that.
and that's so important because as you're becoming, you're growing.
Absolutely.
Because I can look back on when I first started at the age of 38 in
Hmm.
this business, at the age of 38.
Hmm.
And the things that I thought I wanted then are in an entirely different universe
Yes,
than where I am right now.
absolutely.
So that's the becoming because as you walk through this, you're becoming the person that you want to be. You're making the mistakes, you're making the missteps, but then you're also making the right decisions that are putting you on the path that you're eventually going to walk. Because I started in front of the camera. I started out as an actor.
Wow. Much respect.
Yes. Yeah, I started out as an actor, but I loved creating for other people more than I liked being in front of the camera. Much like you said, you knew that you weren't that particular type of person.
Mhm.
This is my lane, so I'm going to rock out with that. But yeah, that is a part of the journey, the becoming. But let's talk about you not being boxed in. So, ladies and gentlemen, listen to this: cable news, Kiss FM, documentaries, live events, NAACP awards, White House, I Love the 80s, Van Halen, Megadeth, U2, Jay-Z, crime shows, behind the music. And Tia always talks about every interview that I've watched her in. You've always talked about not wanting to be boxed in. And that list that I gave is a plethora of so many different things. You've got rap and hard rock, White House, and I love the 80s in the same sentence. So, can you talk about the freedom of not allowing yourself to being boxed in, but more importantly, the freedom of not letting people say, okay, this is who you are, Tia, and this is where you're going to stay. Can you talk about that freedom?
Yeah, I definitely think it comes from being from the DMV. I mean, I know everybody touts their city, right? Okay, we get it, right? But there's something about the DMV where I was just exposed to so much. I was exposed to so many different cultures and so many different races, and we listened to all kinds of music. It was nothing to have like Cheap Trick, to Hank, just to everything, to hip hop, to country, to R&B. You know what I mean? Everything was around us. It was that kind of community, to Latino music, all of it. So with that, I've always seen myself as a global citizen. And again, with the mantra that my mom gave of if you're going to do something, do it right. There's nothing that you cannot do. I just literally took that seriously. So it didn't matter if, just like for TV1, I didn't know crime. We had a new president that came in from Discovery, and she gave the statistic of Black people over index on crime. And I need a slate that's going to rival Love and Hip Hop because it is killing Monday nights.
Hmm.
I literally started the same week as her. And then through her and a consultant, they were like, okay, we want you over that. And I was like, oh, snap, I've never done crime. But as I did my research, we got in bed with Jupiter Entertainment, who are the makers of Snap. Come on. And at that time, they had like 5,000 shows under their belt. And then when I started to learn from them and collaborate with them, I said, this is behind the music. Not to,
Just
yeah, not to trivialize it, but you start off with the drama or the murder. Okay.
right. It's behind the music with weapons.
I'm just saying the body is there and your check ain't. But you know what I mean? So it's like you start off with the drama, you peel it back. And again, I'm not trivializing, but I'm just showing how skill sets and collaboration and learning and being pliable will put you in a position where you can further grow.
Yeah.
So again, that is the attitude that I've taken to everything. I will never forget. I can't really say, but walking into spaces and they were surprised that I was a person of color. And I'm like, first of all, Tia Smith, right? And them being surprised that I could do something on Faith Hill, Megadeth, or Ozzy Osbourne, or you too, and all the things. Because unfortunately, people limit other people based on perception and who they are and what they look like. So, as I did what I usually do, which is show and prove, oh, Tia, you're amazing. And then I become the exception. And
Hmm.
I'm like, okay, I don't like that box either. Because guess what? Yes, I'm great. But I know about 5, 10 others right beside me, behind me that are just as great. You understand? I will not be your exception also. Let me introduce you to them. Let them work also, because we're just trying to have people eat. It's never been that deep for me.
You heard her right, Floyd. So Tia said I could call her when I'm looking for a job.
Yeah,
Right, okay.
no, we're already locked in. We have some
We have
special,
so many. We have so many mutuals.
so many mutual. And what we were talking about earlier, Floyd, as far as good people begat good people.
Yes.
And the way that Okima was introduced to me was by some good people. So
Hmm.
I knew when she, I got that intel, I was like, oh yes, she's a good sis. Okay. And the same with you, Floyd. I mean, our connection too.
Yes.
I love that. And I believe that while we have our tribe that's building and supporting each other, that we will also identify other people who can be a part of the tribe too. I, I
Absolutely.
think that's essential. And I think it's essential even more now.
More, yeah.
Yes.
I
Okay.
literally just had this conversation with someone. I was like, I do not subscribe to the Drake idea of no new friends
Uh-huh.
in this business. Now you got to be careful who you call a friend, but you know what I mean.
Real true.
Right.
Because in my time, I've outgrown a host of people, colleagues, spaces, places, what have you. And so if I can find another woman, man, person of color, queer person, whatever,
Mhm.
human,
Yeah.
who doesn't forget the E and treats me humanely, we could be friends.
I
We
feel a
could be friends.
t-shirt. These are some bars or something. We need to get that on a t-shirt, some monetary.
Listen, I say it all the time. Like, I remember the E on purpose
Yes, absolutely.
because none of us can change the fact that we're human, even though we're treated subhuman because who and what we are in certain spaces and places, we all cannot escape being human. But
Absolutely.
being humane is a choice every time.
Yes.
And so when we do things like not gatekeep, let the good people we know teach us and show us new good people to also know, that is when we choose the E, when we make space and place for people. And speaking of good people, we got to get to we got to get to this good film, because all my people, Errol is like family. That's my cousin.
Oh,
Errol is my cousin. Terry is my sister.
oh,
So I'm just like, she got all my peoples on this one. Let's talk about the Heir. It is moving
oh,
like a freight train through the circuit, and we just started season, but it is moving like a freight train.
yeah.
So let's talk about the Heir. I'm gonna switch it over to my Floyd, because I know Floyd done looked up 18 other things to align with it. And Floyd is our resident crybaby. I didn't cry this.
I'm not going. I did not. I did
I
not.
did not
Although I
yet.
did got a
No,
little
'cause
bit of
we had
emotional.
Christine on 2 weeks ago, and Basement People was a lot.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Basement People was a lot of my childhood. But
Mm,
when I saw the Heir, I also thought the house that I am literally in is the house I inherited from my grandparents.
wow.
So when I saw the film, I was like, oh, because I remember when people in the family didn't enjoy that I was the recipient and so forth and so on. So I was like, oh, this is my life. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. And shout out to Christine Swanson, who's uh everything first and
Yes.
foremost. Our basement people. And I was like, ooh, this is intense. I
Yes.
mean, but I think that the parallel is she wanted to represent Detroit, right? And definitely
Right.
a theme of what happens in culture. I wasn't privy to it, but I understood some inflections of it. That's
Mhm.
what resonates. And for me, my backdrop is DC, DMV. And, I wanted to speak on what I experienced, which is what you experienced. And that's what I'm finding is so humbling and so gratifying that everywhere we're going, from Cannes to DC to everywhere, all different ethnicities are really feeling this because unfortunately they've had to deal with, I would say, the negative and or trauma side of when you inherit something.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Some of the trauma is that families are doing this.
Well,
and
death makes people stupid.
yeah, and high emotions, all of it, you know, and it goes out the window, any kind of civility, sometimes, not all the time, but people are really leaning into, man, this is why I say it again, I always say it. Two aunts are not talking to this day over like 30 years
Hmm.
because of how something was decided upon. You know, so it's about legacy, it's about um, the deepest parts of my life. I wanted people to understand and get a bird's eye view of what African Americans are talking about when they have to decide what to do with a loved one's estate, period. I wanted it raw, unfiltered. I wanted you to just step into it. I wanted you to judge them. I wanted to represent different characters in our family. Like the mother is very much built upon the many teachers that I have in my family. So I wanted the teachers to be represented. I wanted the cousin who was the best cousin, that cousin you always get with, right? That you do good and bad with. And she just happened to be queer. You understand? I wanted that to be represented. I wanted the uncle who's hardworking, blue collar, a little bit cynical, loves his brown liquor. You
Hmm.
know, you know, always got something to say. I wanted him represented. I wanted the aunt who is recovering, but yet is still judgy.
Mm.
Have a
But
say.
don't that always be the listen?
Of
I'm
course.
Caribbean, not Southern, and like I love how when you walk into a room, your get fat is hello, and it's never from someone who is slim.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Like, ooh, you gained some weight. Like, really?
Yeah,
That came out your mouth?
yeah.
Okay.
That was my
Okay.
grandmother. Oh, you look so plump. Oh, your cheeks so red and plump, right? So yeah, I wanted all of that universality. Like I said again, those things that are familiar to be resonated, but not too character like driven, like or caricatures, I guess you can say. That's the reason why that dialogue had to be authentic. It had to be lax, the pacing of it. There was no judgment how somebody pronounced something.
Right.
Again, very bird's eye view, very expressive of who we are.
Listen, baby, that overhead stairs shot.
That's one of my favorites too.
Love it when she's going through the room and we pace with her with camera and we're racking in and out of the objects and the photos and her emotions in the mirror and just so well done, so well directed and so well laid out visually in frame, so well framed and paced.
Thank
Um, the opening was beautiful. I'm not gonna ruin it for nobody, but the
Right.
opening was beautiful. And
you.
the opening is what shows that you've done documentary, baby.
Okay, and lover of Spike Lee, if I can give that tidbit,
No,
because
I get
Yes.
because yes, it's giving Crooklyn, it's giving.
we can't say too much because y'all haven't seen it,
I
but
know.
that's another aspect of me of box crushing. I know how shorts now are being shot, and it's beautiful. Um, it's very nuanced. It's very quiet. Sometimes it's expansive. You know, it's all of the things of show and tell. We love it. However, I knew that this was going to be heavy dialogue, and while I would have incredible shots and composition, it's different than your regular or what's being shot or being known as a short film,
Yes,
especially the open.
yes.
So I made those choices deliberately, and it was love me or leave me alone. Period. You understand? So that's how I felt about it. I needed to exercise this out of me. I wanted to be true to the story. I wanted to be true to the way that I saw it, and then have the other parts of great dialogue, great pacing, like you said. Thank you very much. Composition, letting the actors run with it. I mean, can we talk about the cast?
Listen,
Yeah. Wow.
That's what you call, you know, relationships and the best producer knows how to use their resources,
mhm.
period. So Terry Vaughn and I had met when I was at Network, and just incredibly beautiful spirit. And one of her good friends, Cass Seegers, is a good friend of mine.
Love Cass.
So that was like family, right? And then, you know, Tiffany Black was in When Love Kills, and the way that she showed improved. And there's a whole story about how that came about. You know, that part wasn't even supposed to be hers.
Mm.
Another actress had bailed the night before, and she was ready at 8 a.m.
Wow.
Boom,
Wow.
let's go. That's Tiffany. And I love how she shapeshifts. I love her bone structure and all that she gives. To Greg Allen Williams, he was in a couple of movies that I had done. Just solid. He felt like Uncle. He felt and gave all the things that I needed for this character to give. Faye Mack, who I just, actually met through George Pierre, who casted her, and also Gold Morgan, who is our other producer, along with Errol. She's local ATL. She's brilliant. She embodied that character. I just felt like that's cousin love. Like, there was no denying, because respect again to actors. It's so easy to say, oh, that person sucks, or this person, they're not getting it. You got to remember things. When you get sides, there is no context sometimes. You have
Hmm.
to bring all of that into an audition and hope that people like it. Okay. So that, and then we have Terry Henry, who's also in the ATL, who I was introduced by Gold again, who's done stellar work, theater, the whole nine. She embodied the mother character to me. Dieta West, come on, Mama D. I've always wanted to work with her on different projects, and for her to sit in the chair of my great grandmother is kind of the spirit. She played the grandmother, but it was my great grandmother's spirit that ugh, she just enveloped. You know what I mean? It was a dream cast, and after I gave them how I felt about this, the passion points that I felt were relevant, I let them go and run with it. I did not have
Hmm.
to over direct. In fact, what I've learned is do not over direct.
Hmm.
Let that happen. Now, obviously, if something needs to be noodled, we'll go ahead and take care of that, right? But for them to be so locked in was amazing. And the first thing a lot of them said was, man, this is happening in South Carolina with me. So again, you have that built in knowing of conflict, this built in knowing of step toeing around things, this built in knowing of we want things to get better, but here we are. Thank you to them for capturing all of that. And as I say, making my job easy. Uh,
Yeah.
so I consider myself, working well with actors in that capacity, but from the visual standpoint, working with Rafa Bola, brilliant cinematographer, and I told him that I wanted every frame to feel like a family album of sorts. I wanted it to feel rich. I wanted the lighting to be warm. And then there was times, obviously, we moved it for upstairs and downstairs, how that was calculated, the temperature of the lighting.
Yes, because upstairs was much cooler.
A lot cooler, but that's when she was deciding.
Right, that's when she was, yeah, yeah. And downstairs was brighter sometimes.
Right. Yes. Are we
I
giving?
was paying attention.
And you're a director also, so you understand the importance of not picking up a camera and just shooting. Now, while you can
Right.
do that, but there has to be subconscious. There has to be prep. There has to be that feeling that you, even though you can't describe it, you know it's there because of the mood, the setting, the pacing, the lighting, and all the things. So even from production design, a lot of those pictures
The
were my
house was
family.
gorgeous.
That was my family.
I figured that most of those pictures, that because some of the women, I was like, oh, she related to her.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
'cause,
You could see it.
we copy pasted in Black families. And
Hello,
we copy paste. I had stole my mother's whole face.
whole face.
But even in the production design, like the bowls,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, when she was touching the beads,
Mhm.
like just all the little nuances that exist in a Black home.
Yes.
Even the way the house looked when she was outside.
Mm.
Just all the carpet on the stairs and the color in the house, and it just it
Yeah.
you spared no detail, and that's the thing that as an audience member you don't realize you're ingesting until after you finish with the film. But then you think about it and you realize you watched that, and while you were watching this beautiful thing, you also were in your grandma's house.
Right. And that's where we don't want any distractions. We don't want you to be like, that wig is off. Come on now. Now you're thinking about the wig that's lopsided. What
I'm
are we
not doing this with you.
You know,
Yeah. And I've seen some movies where we're like fixated on that hair.
we're there.
I'm not
And
doing this with you either, sir.
We're moving on. But
Mhm.
importance of the detail, like I said, Gail Smith, if you're going to do it right.
Yeah.
It's the details, it's the process, and it's the homage that you give to the story to make it legit.
Yeah. And one of the scenes that really stood out, and I'm not going to give too much away, is when she was doing the hair.
Um,
Now, if you grew up in a black house, when you see that scene, you're gonna be like, that was my house back in the day.
yeah,
Because I had, two sisters. That was my house.
yeah.
It
With
was the
that, with
James Brown line for me.
with the and
Well,
then
listen,
but I do have a question about one scene when they were
wait,
eating.
real quick before you go there, I got
No,
to talk
please.
about the grandmother scene again. It's like, yes, it's 19 minutes and 25 seconds. I was really trying to get to
You
15.
stayed under 20. You're still programmable. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. But
Yes.
this is my first run at this whole festival and short film independent thing. And I was told 15 is a sweet spot, even 7, 8. I was like, there's no way. And I will be submitting to the festivals that'll take it as such. But I do know that if I cut that grandmama scene,
It wouldn't be the
It
same.
changes the entire film.
but I owed it to my grandmother, my great grandmother. I literally remember being 7, 8 years old, and my great grandmother sitting in her room and combing her silver hair, her silver thin hair. And it was such a privilege. Like, I was like, yeah. And I was like the middle child too. So it wasn't like I was the oldest or the youngest. I was like, y'all can't do it. Because she trusted me. I cooked a lot and then I brushed her hair. And I just had to capture the importance of that moment, that it was a regal moment, that it was a special moment. It was a privileged moment to sit with her, brush her hair, and roll her up. And I won't say the line, but she did look like that sometimes. But then she wore it with pride because her baby did it. But I couldn't cut that. I could
Right.
not that aspect of it. So I'm sorry, Floyd.
Oh, no, 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 because that's very important, because again, that in my opinion would have changed the
The film.
scene, because that really, well, you know what? When you watch it, because I'm not going to say anything else about that, but when you watch it, you'll understand why that scene being in the film is really, really important. But I just had a question, because I was looking at that food,
Ah,
and I'm sitting there like, did they really eat all of that?
yeah.
So I'm like, so it looked like they really cooked it, and I'm looking at that golden fried chicken. I'm like, now see y'all, they about to go in. The spread was spreading.
The spread was spreading. And listen, Nas Monet and Anaya Nicole, as far as all the great things that they did, as far as making sure that it was recycled too, because nothing is flawless. We have to go back and place it again. So our actors were like, "Oh my gosh, I'm getting full," and I was like, "I need one more take." You
Mm,
know what I mean? So and shout out to our producers, because the catering was all love, and yeah, that was a part of the catering, and they were eating. They
okay,
The food
okay,
was really good. It
yeah,
was really good.
yeah. But there were because the movie resonated with me as well, because that happened with us, with myself and my siblings,
Mhm.
having to sell, the parents' house after, everyone passes away. And one of the scenes when he said, well, I got my taxes too, that made me sit up,
Mhm.
because I distinctly remember when I was saying to my siblings, because they were like, let's keep this house.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to myself, I'm like, yo, I got a family. I got my own crib, and I got a mortgage, and I got taxes.
Mhm.
And y'all talking about do this and do that. But then when tax season comes around, am I gonna have to come find you to get that check? And I was like, and my wife was like, yo, we not doing this. So when I was sitting there watching this movie, I'm like, oh my gosh. So the truthfulness of this film is, her frustration with everybody wants to do a thing, but then when it's time to get down to business,
Right.
oh, I can't find you,
Correct.
but you the loudest one in the room.
It's always like that. It's always like that. I mean, even body language experts say it from, the loudest person is usually hiding something that definitely translates to this particular scenario. All the people that have the best ideas when it comes to actually getting stuff done, where are you? And I do respect that, people are in a position perhaps that they can't contribute. Just articulate that,
Yes.
okay? And just overall from the film, there's different ways that you can honor legacy. You don't always have to keep the house. You can take the money,
I loved that. I loved that scene.
further it.
Breaking it down.
That's real. That's a different mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. Because what if that loved one really knew that you were talented in a particular area and that this could benefit you, and you take that and you launch it, and that's how you help the legacy of the next generation? Fine. Or you can keep the house and everyone comes to a mutual agreement. This is how it's going to be run. And that's fine too.
Yeah.
But people aren't talking, or either when they're talking big and they're nowhere to be found, because that was the instance, particularly with my side of the family, where we really tried to work with people. We had an agreement, and then there was bucking and contesting, and there goes my savings, my mom's savings, with lawyers, and you know, end up selling. But what about all of that exhaustion and heartache? Couldn't we have just talked about it ahead of time?
Yeah. No, the sweat and stress equity is high.
High. But then there's an adage that also says, you really don't talk to the people that are closest to you. So I know that I'm particularly asking potentially for a tall order. But can we try to baby step this thing?
Right.
Can we be adults about this?
And look how much you put in 19 minutes. And was it 27?
25.
25 seconds. Right? And so there is a gifting in that too. I tell people all the time, good short films, no matter how short or, well, how long matters, but like good short films under 22 minutes or shorter.
Yes.
There is a gifting in being able to tell that much story.
Absolutely.
In that small amount of time, especially if you come from long form content, long form storytelling. Absolutely. So kudos to you for finding the right 19 minutes and 25 seconds.
Thank you.
Was engaged, enthralled, and into it, and still break the mold of your traditional short film, formula, but doing that same work, because that's not an easy task.
Not at all. Thank you.
But I gotta say this. After having said everything that I just said, when she got up and walked outside,
baby,
and the person that was walking down the street, I said, you know what? If I got to work 5 jobs,
now you're snapping and turn.
Total 360. I'm like, you know what? You have just.
It won't ever be you, ma'am.
You have just strengthened my backbone. Because when I saw that look, I said, "Oh, see, what we about to do is we about to. Oh, see, no, we not.
See, do I need to take?
But some is also then, but God bless those that also are like, you know what, you can have it.
Yeah,
I'm not doing this with you.
That duel is really interesting because, as you know, when you're writing, you don't. Ideally, everyone has their writing style, right? And it's very subjective to what you like. Some people like things spelled out for them. Right? To me, the best or the strongest writing for me is the nuances, the complexities, the show and tells, but that you're not literally saying the line so that it sounds
the hand holding is not there.
Yes. I trust you a little bit more to understand where I'm going, right? So that to me was one of the elements of gentrification that was burrowing in everybody's mind, and to see it up front was the duel. That's what I'll call it. So, yeah. And I can't say more because it's going to give it all away.
No, we can't.
Yeah. But it's interesting.
I love how you did it. I love how it ended.
Yeah. But it's interesting how we both had different reactions.
Right. Well,
to the same scene.
I live it. Like my that is next door.
You too?
But let me tell you, with that, we all have planters out front of our houses.
Yes.
We all have identical planters, but everybody plants what they want.
Mm-hmm.
Mine from last year died. My evergreen was not ever or green. And so
You do or not?
I've been traveling because circuit, right? I come home, it's a brand new set of plants, brand new evergreen in the center. Now I'm hard pressed sometimes for a good morning, right?
Wow.
Hey, we went and had to replace ours and saw yours, so we replaced them both. We got two different things. We hope that's okay. And I said, thank you. So, and the funny part about it is the week before I left, I looked at mine, who was full dead, and theirs, which was half dead. And said, when I go to the terminal market, I'm going to get two and replace both of them.
Okay.
Wow.
All right.
And so, again, I love the route you took because you don't know. And you left it in a space where where interpretation is up to audience, and I love that.
Yeah, I mean the hook is there, even to the point people are like, "Are you serious?" Like,
Yeah, some people gonna be mad.
I need more, and the feature is in the making. So yes, people, the feature is in the making. But
Okay, sorry, y'all. Brooklyn is Brooklyn in.
Mhm.
oh, I miss Fort Greene. Slightly, I don't know, but it's actually changed. That's a whole other.
I'm in Bed-Stuy. You ain't got to tell me. I'm the third generation to have this house. I get it.
Yes, exactly. But it's like, I don't think there's an issue when everybody plays together and everybody supports each other. Listen, you were about to shake a hand too, get some evergreens, get the love on, right?
Yeah.
But the
Because
owner,
nobody want to look at the two dead evergreens that ain't ever or green.
Mhm.
but for you to be like, oh, you don't belong here, or what are you doing here? And this is now ours, that's a problem.
Mhm.
And even though we kind of can't talk about the top of it, that top was basically a poem that I wrote. I wrote songs and we got, singers to be a part of it. And it's like we planted roots here, deep ones, but even roots get restless when the soil starts moving underneath. Now, the corner store is a juice bar. There's more yoga studios and rec centers and faces that don't nod when they pass. I don't want to let go, but I don't want to drown trying to hold on.
Yeah.
I found myself somewhere between memory and math, trying to find a future that feels like home. Like I wrote that because as I was writing this, I would go back to my great grandmother's house in historic Rockville, Maryland, where the Israels were, right? With that sports, all my uncles from the Negro League, they grew up in that house. And just sit out there and just write. And that's the poem that came to me. And, I can't say it, but that was the beginning that you saw that kind of mastered into that. It was built off of a poem that hit me hard about changing neighborhoods. So, yeah.
Well, you out here doing the Lord's work, child.
I'm trying to help people, y'all. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, it's beautiful for all of you that have the opportunity to catch the Heir on the circuit before she finds a home for it, because we know that she's an exec that works in television, so distribution is coming. But until then, if you are on the circuit,
absolutely,
be sure to catch the Heir by the amazing Tia A. Smith. It is a beautiful film. She is a beautiful spirit, and she is out here doing work for all of our likes, whether it's true crime, history, music, art, you name it, she's got it under her belt in her portfolio. So she can't act like she don't know me when I come telling her this fall that now my circus is over and I need a job.
We get off this thing here, off this studio.
Yeah.
No, this has been lovely, and I love our show. I know, it kind of is, but I love our show because I feel like our audience gets a chance to walk through so many worlds. Your world today was your amazing resume, your amazing pivots and starts, and all your bars about that. But then we got to really dig into family, and I love that Floyd had the brainchild to come up with this show long before I got here. I've only been here 2 years, a year and a half. But
best decision I ever made.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
I love it.
But I love that we're a space where we work in a business where you take that business and walk through so many worlds. And so today our world was family and legacy, and I love that. And what you built in that film is beautiful, and I'm really excited to see what it does on the circuit, but also where you take the feature, because ain't nothing like a good standalone short that's also a sneak backdoor proof of concept.
Right. You see what you did there. I mean, I was selfish with it. I was like, I got to get this out. Like I said, I have directed just about everything except for narrative. And I was like, you know what? We're about to do this.
I
Let me
love
get
it.
organized. Let me get some good people together, and we're about to do this. Um, but yeah, the future cometh.
Yeah. But for everyone, just to let you know, it is not the Air AIR. It is the Air HEIR.
Think
The Air.
heirloom. Think
Yeah.
heirloom, and you will know which heir it is.
Right. Because I don't want y'all on Google
With
talking about I can't find it. We're not talking.
no. Because what happened is they're gonna look for heir and they're gonna find Matt Damon and be like,
Right.
wait, that's not Tia.
No, that's
No,
not.
that's not it.
And the company is HeirBloom Entertainment. So
Nice.
yeah, but
HeirBloom Entertainment.
So just think tomatoes, but with a B.
HEIR Bloom Entertainment. This has been absolutely amazing. And as always, there is so much we didn't get to talk about because I really wanted to ask you about the
I want
sharks,
I
but
want
we're gonna
you to
say
understand
that for the
ooh,
next. Can
don't
we talk about sharks for a second?
yes.
Because Tia
Yeah.
loves sharks. And you know what? Can you tell me about the experience of being underwater and watching a 3,000-pound shark
Yeah.
swim past you? Can you talk about? I found that so fascinating.
Most humbling thing I've ever done in my life. And the slowest way that time stood still. Always been obsessed with sharks. I don't know what it is. I just saw so many Shark Weeks and documentaries. I don't know if it was Jaws. I don't know. I just was always obsessed with sharks. And so, having looked at a ton of documentaries, a lot of them are concentrated either in the Great Barrier Reef in Australia, to which I have to get to because it's dying. But right after I left TV1, I did the Dave Chappelle. I was like, I'm out. I'm going to Africa, right? And I was a part of a program that was incredible. We learned business, social give back, and adventure. So when I heard South Africa, I was like, I'm going to Shark Alley. I'm going to Guns By. And I told my mother that, I got accepted into this program, and she was like, "You're going to do it, aren't you?" And I was like, "Yes." So here I am, literally, we touched down on a Thursday. And on Saturday, I'd already met two other people, my flatmate and another young lady who said, "You love sharks too?" And I was like, "Yes." And we just had it, booked it all together. So at 4:30 in the morning, we leave Cape Town and go to Gans By Shark Alley, sleepy, frightened, and get on this boat. And it was amazing. They slick it down with chum and all kind of dead stuff and oils. And the person is up in the crow's nets, and they're like, "Listen, bronzies are coming." And bronzies are like 7 to 9 footers, very thin. Um, they're coming. And what you do is the prerequisite is that I had to have the cage on the side of the boat, hooked to the boat. Because if you're familiar with Jaws, they crank it down, and then that's when the shark can land on it, and you're just like,
Yeah.
fuck, right? That was a yeah, no. So my prerequisite is that the cage had to be on the side of the boat, and then you had these highlighter yellow bars. And every time he would be like, "It's coming," you hold your breath, you go down and hold the bars and watch what would come before you. Do not stick your hands out was the other thing.
Mm.
So we're getting these 9 footers and everything else. And then he's like, "Oh my gosh, April's back." And we're like, "Who's April?" They had tagged and are tracking April a year prior, that prior April, who was that 3,000-pound shark and was about a good 18, 19 feet.
Oh my
The
gosh.
head alone, closed, not open, was easily about 4 feet, top to bottom. The head alone. So it's not like you can dial up a shark. So this was like huge, a blessing, that we were there at that time with the right chum and the right experience that April showed up. And I'm trying to tell you that I had to go up for air 3 times in her passing. And she just literally. and it was extraordinary. And she was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So people think I'm crazy, but it was exhilarating, and
Wow.
I just have so much respect for the animal in general. Like I said, the next stop is Australia because I love Australia and have read and researched about it. But also, like I said, the Great Barrier Reef
It's
is
dying.
dying, so I got to get there so I can see the I forgot what you call it, the jumping sharks, where they just totally leap up out of the water.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Stuff like that, humans are significant,
Hmm.
but when you see something like that, God's creation,
Listen,
it really puts you in the space where you're not as significant as you think.
not at
Nope.
all.
I'm trying to go gorilla trekking in Rwanda, so I get it.
I want to get there too.
Okay, let's figure it out, Tia.
To talk because I know some people. We need to talk.
Well, I need the job first in order to pay for the gorilla trek.
Yeah,
But
we don't
yes,
make that happen too.
yes,
But this has been absolutely amazing, and thank you so much for gracing us with your presence
yeah.
for a little over an hour. We've learned so much, and ladies and gentlemen, when you watch this, don't just watch it once, watch it a few times, subscribe, let your friends know, because one of the things that myself and Okima, we love to do is we love to bring you guests that will pour into you, but more importantly, guests that will allow you to incorporate their success strategies into what you do immediately. You can't do it at Tia's level right now, but you can take what she said and create a blueprint and put those things into practices so you can start to get there becoming. It's a journey. But
Honey,
again, Tia, thank you so much for joining the show. But before you go, what is next? What's next?
thank you first of all for having me big time. And to your point of becoming, I am still becoming. Thank God for the resume, but like everything feels new. So that's
Yes.
the attitude that you should have. Continue to learn, continue to grow, and to become. Next is, like I said, the feature for the Heir. Also, I have a few pilots that I will be doing and directing. And I'm also constantly looking for just great storytelling assets because, like I said, from shopping agreements to just being on the pulse of some great, great storytelling, because I'll work with you, find funding for it, and then everybody wins. So I'm working with a few companies that will afford me to build a slate, and that's all I can kind of say at the time. But it's about my slate, but it's also about so many other slates, so that we can get expression out there, and we can all eat and we can build.
Mhm.
I
And where
love
can people find you?
On IG, I am Ms. Tia Smith, which is MZTIA Smith. You can also follow the film at the Heir Film, TheHeir Film, FILM. Facebook, I think I am /TalentedSOL. LinkedIn, I think I'm Tia A Smith. Yes.
Do we have a link tree on the IG that gives everybody everything else? Because if not, let's.
Yes, we need to get with that. Yes, ma'am. Own it.
But again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining myself, my amazing co-host Hakima T. Moore, and the incomparable Mogul Tia A. Smith.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on A Conversation With. We hope that this show today will level you up and have you out there doing your thing and becoming the absolutely amazing and phenomenal person that we all know that you are.
Whether it's
And
filmmaking or shark hunting.
Pick your
whatever,
poison.
whatever, or both, whatever floats your boat. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you again. And as always, love it like a hobby
Treat it like a
and treat it
business.
like a business.
Hey, I like that.
Take care, everyone. Tia,
Thank
don't
you.
go anywhere.
Thank you.